There's a moment in every great life when everything falls apart, when the dream that once burned so brightly seems to flicker and die, when the doors slam shut one after another, and you start to believe maybe, just maybe, you were never meant to win. But that is the illusion of defeat. It is the disguise of destiny. Because in every failure, hidden deep within the ashes of disappointment, lies a seed of equal success. And that seed only grows for the one who refuses to give up. Thomas Edison failed 10,000 times before he brought light to the world. Henry Ford went bankrupt 5 times before the Model T ever touched a road. Walt Disney was fired from his first job for lacking imagination. And Abraham Lincoln lost election after election before leading a nation. The difference between those who rise and those who stay broken is not luck, not genius, not even timing, and it's vision. The mind that sees failure as final dies in darkness. But the mind that sees failure as fertilizer, that mind becomes unstoppable. Because pain is not punishment, it's preparation. Every setback you face carries within it the blueprint of your next breakthrough. Every loss, every rejection, every heartbreak, they are not endings. They are beginnings in disguise. When you fall, life isn't saying you're done. Life is asking, how badly do you want it? You see, nature hides its greatest treasures behind trials. The diamond is born under pressure. The seed breaks in darkness before it reaches the light. The eagle must fight the wind to learn how to soar. And you must learn to turn your wounds into wisdom. Failure is the universe's most precise sculptor. It chips away your weakness. It sharpens your edge. It teaches humility, focus, patience, and resilience. You cannot build a mountain-sized dream with a paper-thin spirit. You must be refined by fire. You must be tested by time. And you must be willing to start again. Stronger, clearer, wiser. Napoleon Hill once said, "Every adversity, every failure, every heartache carries with it the seed of an equal or greater benefit." But understand this, that seed doesn't bloom automatically. You have to plant it. You have to water it with persistence. You have to protect it from doubt, fear, and the opinions of small minds. Because success is not handed to the deserving, it is grown by the determined. So the question is not whether you will fail. You will. The question is whether you will rise. Whether you will look at your defeat and say, "This is not the end, this is the lesson." Because every successful person you admire once stood exactly where you stand now. Beaten, tired, uncertain, but still breathing. And they made a decision. To extract the lesson instead of embracing the loss. To use the pain as power. To move forward when everything said, "Stop." Listen carefully. The world doesn't reward the one who never fails. It rewards the one who refuses to stay down. Failure only destroys those who give it permission to. You see, when you change your relationship with failure, you change your destiny. You stop fearing it. You start using it. You stop hiding from it. You start learning from it. You stop being crushed by it. You start being carved by it. Because your greatest failures are not roadblocks. They're refiners. Every broken dream is a teacher in disguise. Every closed door is a compass pointing you toward your true path. If something fell apart, it's because it wasn't strong enough to hold the weight of your purpose. And if life took something from you, it's because it's making space for something greater. The mind that understands this principle, the law of transformation through failure, becomes indestructible. That mind doesn't panic when plans crumble. That mind doesn't curse the storm. It learns to steer through it. That mind doesn't say, "Why me?" It says, "What can I learn from this? What strength is being built right now that I can't yet see?" And if you're in that dark valley right now, the one where everything you built seems to be falling apart, I want you to remember this. The valley is not your home. It's your passage. The darkness is not your punishment. It's your initiation. You are not losing. You are being prepared. Prepared for a version of success so powerful, so aligned, so earned, that it could not exist without the failures that came before it. So don't curse the struggle. Bless it. Because it's not here to break you. It's here to build you. The seed cannot grow without being buried, and you cannot rise without falling first. The greatest illusion ever sold to mankind is that success happens quickly. That one lucky break, one viral moment, one perfect opportunity will change everything. But the truth is, success is not a moment. It's a process. A long, grueling, unseen process that unfolds in the dark when nobody is watching. Every empire begins in silence. Every breakthrough begins with frustration. Every legend you admire was once an unknown soul wrestling with doubt, rejection, and endless nights of uncertainty. But they stayed. They stayed when it didn't make sense. They stayed when their hearts were heavy and their minds screamed to quit. They stayed because they understood something you must never forget. Failure is not the opposite of success. Failure is success in progress. Thomas Edison said, "I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work." Do you see the genius in that? He didn't say he lost 10,000 times. He said he found. Because real achievers don't count failures as losses. They count them as discoveries. Every time you fail, you're not going backward. You're collecting data. You're learning what doesn't work, who you can't trust, where you need to improve, and what's worth your fight. And that wisdom becomes your invisible advantage. The very thing your future competitors will never have. But here's the truth most people won't face. Most people are addicted to comfort, not growth. They want success without the storms, reward without risk, and recognition without rejection. And when failure comes, as it always does, they run. They bury the seed before it ever blooms. But those who become unstoppable, those who become magnetic forces of creation, they do something different. They look at failure and whisper, "Teach me." They let the pain burn away their illusions. They let the defeat refine their character. And then they rise again, stronger, wiser, cleaner. That's the mindset of a builder. That's the mentality of a warrior. And that's the essence of greatness. Remember, the law of compensation will always balance itself. Every time life takes something from you, it gives something in return, but only if you stay long enough to receive it. Lose your business, you gain insight. Lose your friend, you gain clarity. Lose your comfort, you gain hunger. That's the seed growing in the soil of pain. When Napoleon Hill spent 25 years studying the most successful men of his era, Carnegie, Ford, Rockefeller, Edison, he discovered one truth they all shared. Persistence. Unshakable, almost irrational persistence, a faith so strong it blinded them to defeat. Carnegie once said, "The man who dies rich dies disgraced." Because to him, wealth wasn't about money, it was about mastery. Mastery of mind, mastery of purpose, mastery of failure. You see, there is a kind of faith that logic cannot touch. It's the faith that says, even if I lose everything, I will rise again. It's the faith that doesn't negotiate with fear or depend on evidence. It's the faith that burns so fiercely within you that failure itself becomes fuel. You must develop that kind of faith. Not the kind that hopes, but the kind that knows. Because belief is not soft. Belief is war. Every day your mind is attacked by doubt, fear, and distraction. Every day the world will whisper that you're not enough, that you've missed your chance, that it's too late. And if you listen, you'll lose the battle before it begins. So train your mind like a soldier. Discipline it. Feed it with vision, not fear. Because the world doesn't belong to the most talented. It belongs to the most disciplined. You can lose everything in life, your job, your money, your friends. But if you never lose discipline, you will rebuild it all. Discipline is the bridge between failure and fortune. It's the quiet force that turns chaos into creation. It's the power that takes the seed buried in the dark and pushes it toward the light. Ask yourself, how many times have you been on the verge of something extraordinary but walked away too soon? How many dreams have died not because they were impossible, but because you gave up before the miracle happened? There is no overnight success. There is only overtime success. Day after day, choice after choice, belief after belief. You don't stumble into greatness. You build it one disciplined act at a time. You will be tempted to quit. You will be laughed at, ignored, underestimated. But every insult, every rejection, every failure is part of the construction. The structure is not collapsing, it's forming. And the moment you realize that every failure is simply the world shaping you for something greater, you'll stop running from the pain. You'll start embracing it. You'll start thanking it. Because pain, when understood, becomes power. And the one who learns to use it becomes unstoppable.